Hey guys, Retro John here, and welcome to what I hope will be the first of many episodes of Storytime. So Storytime is going to be a series where I give a very brief history on various memories I have of things such as Masters of the Universe, video games, video game characters, board games, action figures, TV shows, a lot of different things. Today, however, we're going to be going over the Game Boy. That's today on Storytime. So, in April 21st of 1989, Japan was introduced to a system that will revolutionize video games for years to come, up to this very day, honestly. That is the Nintendo Game Boy. The Nintendo Game Boy was the successor to the Game & Watch series that Nintendo was so popular with the handheld generation. In North America, July 31st of 1989, we would see our Game Boy, and then Europe would see it in September of 28th, 1990. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Game Boy real quick before I go ahead and go into my personal memories. So I have here the very first Game Boy. It is part of I believe it's the DMG series, which is the first run. And there we go. So when you took it out of the package, this is what you would see. You would then take the foam off, and you would get multiple different papers. You would get, of course, the advertisement for Nintendo Power. Something I really wish I would have signed up for back in the day. Yet another card for Nintendo Power. And something that included in almost pretty much every Nintendo game or Nintendo system, you would receive a cool little poster. This was all pretty cool and all. But also inside, you got all this cool stuff right here. So I'm going to go ahead and break down what all was in the original Nintendo here. So it came with 4 AA batteries. And I will say these are not the original batteries that came with the system. I can't do it without... They're AA batteries. You've seen them before. It included a set of headphones. Not open, by the way. It would include a link cable. So you can hook this part up to your Game Boy and then up to another Game Boy. You can play 2-player games like the pack-in game Tetris. This is pretty cool. Tetris was revolutionized games. It was very addicting and perfect for a pack-in title with the Game Boy. The original pack-in title was supposed to be Super Mario Land, but one of the creators decided if you wanted the Game Boy to be a kids system, pack it Super Mario Land. You want the Game Boy to include everybody, including adults, pack in Tetris. And that's what Nintendo did. And this, my friends, is the original Nintendo right here. I love this because all the buttons are still tight. This is where you would place the batteries. In fact, I will go ahead and place the batteries in the system. I'll take the Game Boy. Cartridge, Tetris. And you would just plug that label out into the back. Click. Your power switch was right here on top. You turn it on. And your contrast and everything is right over here, I believe. That's the volume. Here's your contrast over here. It's very hard to play this while on there. So that was the original Game Boy. Of course, you also had instruction manuals for both Tetris and the Game Boy system itself. And this also told you how to load up your games. So all of this was really, really cool. Included with the launch of the US title, of the US system, was Alleyway, which was, it's a breakout game, basically. If you ever played Breakout with the little ball and the paddle that hits the little blocks. Baseball was another launch title. Quite possibly my least favorite of all of the Nintendo or Game Boy titles, honestly. Let's see. Super Mario Land. Now this was the game I wanted with the Game Boy along with Tetris. It was Mario. Why wouldn't I? And the final game, tennis. So the two sports games, baseball and tennis, both featured Mario. You had Tetris, you had Alleyway, and you had Super Mario Land. Japan would have all of those 5 titles plus a Mahjong title as well. That was Japan exclusive. Europe also, I believe, received the same launch titles as we did. So, story time. The system came out on July 31st of 1989. My dad would take me in to Circuit City. 89, I'm going to be 10 that year. So I'm 9 years old going in the store. As we're in the store, I'm looking at all these Nintendo games because I don't have a Nintendo. I'm dreaming. And the clerk hands... it's very slippery, very new. Hands this to me and says, "Here." Flips it on, and I begin to start playing Tetris. My dad comes over and says, "What you doing?" And I show him. And the clerk is really trying to sell this to him. Like, this is the next evolution in gaming. This is really fun. It's fun for both you. It's fun for both him. Really laying it on thick. And I'm already sold just based on Tetris. He points out all 5 of the games that were available at the time. Super Mario Land is what really attracted me to the wall of Game Boy games. Once I handed this back to the clerk, he's still trying to sell the system to my dad. In the meantime, 9-year-old me is attached to my dad's leg, hands and knees, arms wrapped around, begging him for the Game Boy. I wish I was exaggerating. To which he responded, "The holidays are coming. You have a birthday coming up, and Christmas is coming up." So my birthday is December 21st. We all know when Christmas is. We leave the store without the Game Boy. Now I'm fixated. I'm focused for for about the next month and a half, 2 months. I'm fixated. I want the Game Boy. begging my dad constantly, leaving him notes. I make a Christmas list. I always write, the most wanted item with the least wanted item. And Game Boy was in big letters, followed by all the games, in order of want. I wanted Tetris. I wanted Super Mario Land. It didn't dawn on 9-year-old me that Tetris came with the system at the time. And the least game was baseball. No, actually, it was probably tennis, then baseball. I wanted Mario, I wanted Tetris, I wanted Alleyway, I wanted baseball, and then tennis. 'Cause I didn't... So, come December 21st, and I'm unwrapping presents. My mom had bought me, I believe it was Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Three Ninjas, all on VHS. I think I got a few more items that day, and then my dad hands me the box. And I unwrap it, and this is what I see right here. This looks awesome. I absolutely loved the box because I knew what was inside the box, but I also knew it looked really cool. And I'm ecstatic. I open it up, and because I didn't read the box, when I opened it up, I got the styrofoam, and then I saw this inside, along with the Game Boy, along with the manuals, along with the cords and everything. It did come with a pack of batteries, so I mean, it was incredible. Another reason why this, I'm going to say now, is my favorite video game system, is because this also marked the first game system my dad ever bought me. I had asked for the Atari 2600, I had asked for Nintendo, nothing. I didn't know about the Sega Master System until after the Sega Genesis came out with the Sega Genesis Master System adapter. Then I found out, oh, there was a system for this. Okay. So this marked the first system my dad bought me. And not only that, it was really, really cool. You could take it anywhere. And I did. I took this thing everywhere. So now we fast forward a bit to Christmas. And we're at my grandmother's. And I'm getting... I don't really remember. Honestly, I don't remember what else I got that year because my dad's gifts actually trumped everyone else's. So he hands me 2 square boxes, wrapped. I opened up the first one, and he deliberately gave me the different boxes in a certain order. The first one he gave me, I unwrapped, and we got baseball. So, okay, I got baseball. He gives me the next one, and I'm bracing myself. I'm like, okay, please let this be Mario. Please let this be Mario. Don't let this be tennis. If I would have gotten Alleyway, I would have been a little disappointed, but I'm like, okay, at least it wasn't tennis. And luckily, it was, in fact, Super Mario Land. And this was an incredible game. It was a very fun game. It was a Mario game. And it was different from any other Mario game ever created. He's not in the Mushroom Kingdom. He's not after Princess Toadstool. He's after Princess Daisy. Yes, this is the first game to introduce Princess Daisy as a Mario character. So, great. I have Tetris. I've got Super Mario Land. I've got baseball, which is a really bad game, by the way. So I'm playing, and I've beaten Mario. I can only get so far in Tetris. Baseball is no longer an option. I need more games. So with that, my dad decided that if I did chores and I did good in school, then once a month, he would take me to go get a brand new Game Boy game. So needless to say, I was very ecstatic about this. This is a good thing. So I have spent the last few months going back and repurchasing all the games that I originally had, along with some other ones along the way. Now, in no particular order, some of the games that I got on the original Game Boy were Batman. Had to get Batman. This might have been the first game I got that wasn't from a holiday. I don't remember. It was either this game or Bart Simpson Escapes from Camp Deadly. We also have, and this ended up being a bad game too, Home Alone 2, Escape from New York. Lost in New York. Let's see. This one I specifically remember my mom buying me at KB Toys. And it's called Haikyuu Alien. Very obscure game, but pretty fun. You're digging holes to capture aliens, then dig the hole back, fill in the hole with the aliens in them. And you gotta do this with all the aliens on the screen to go on to the next stage. It's actually quite addicting. We're saving that one for last. DuckTales. This, I believe, was pretty much an exact port from the Nintendo version, except smaller. And it was really fun. I actually really loved it and enjoyed it. Mega Man, Dr. Wily's Revenge. This game, for some reason, I actually remember playing and beating the two of the levels at a DMV. I was with my mom. She had to go there probably to renew her license or something. And I'm sitting there playing Mega Man, and I beat 2 levels. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. I was so excited for this. And I played this constantly till I beat it. And it got to the point where I could probably beat it in about 15 minutes at the time. I've recently tried playing this, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so hard. Why is it so hard? I also forgot that it had secret mini-game stages. They were hidden. So that's kind of fun. Somehow I managed to find them all when I was younger, but I don't remember nothing about it now. I already mentioned Super Mario Land and baseball. WWF Superstars. I'm a huge wrestling fan, including back in the day. Had to get this. So, with that being said, I have one more game in my hand. This would actually be the final game I would ever get on Game Boy. It would also be the last game I'd ever play on the original Game Boy. Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure, which was actually kind of a fun game. However, picture it if you will. Now I've had the Game Boy at this point almost a year. Here we are. I want to say it's Thanksgiving. And I'm playing my Game Boy. I'm playing the Bill and Ted game. It's brand new. I just bought it. And I'm playing it quietly to myself in a bedroom so the adults can talk and I can have the sound up. And as I'm advancing in the game, all of a sudden, a big blotch of black right around here and here just goes. I cannot see the screen except for this area here. Everything else is all black. Thus, my Game Boy dies. A horrible, horrible death. Of course, we called Nintendo. The warranty had just expired a few weeks prior, so they will not replace the Game Boy. My father had stated that he was not going to buy me a new Game Boy. So, thus ended my Game Boy adventure. I now had a broken Game Boy. I had tons of games and no way to play them. I had the magnifying glass that went over the screen. I had a light that would go over it as well, so I could play in the dark, because that was one downside to the Game Boy. So if you had little to no light, you couldn't play it. The Game Boy needed some light. So, what does one to do? Well, I packed up my games, and I took them to a little place called FuncoLand. This was before GameStop, and it really blew up. There were still stores called EB Games and places like that. And what FuncoLand did was you could take your games, your handheld systems, and whatnot, and you could trade them in for cash. That was their big thing. You could trade them in for cash. Of course, like today, you wouldn't get anywhere near as much cash as you would trade-in credit. And that's fine, because I wanted to trade mine in for essentially a new system that had just came out. It was maybe a little over a year old. A little system called the Sega Genesis. But I think that's a story for another time. So, years would go by. And I'd get older. I'd go through a few game systems. I finally got a Nintendo. Obviously, I got a Sega Genesis. I have a Super Nintendo. But I don't have a handheld system. I have a job where a handheld system would really come in handy. And luckily, a buddy of mine, he gave me a Game Boy Pocket. Well, this Game Boy Pocket, he gave me a couple of games with it. He gave me Castlevania Adventures 2, Belmont's Revenge, which I still have yet to add to my collection, as in a lot of things. The game's a little pricey. And he gave me a game called The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. This would be the very first Zelda game that I've beaten. Not played, but beaten. I loved the weird storyline. I loved all the weird characters. Years later, you'd find out that the game was very much inspired by the TV series Twin Peaks. And you could see that in this game. You really can. And the first game I had bought, a Game Boy game that I had bought, and it'd be the last Game Boy game I bought. It would be the first one I bought in years. Pokemon Yellow. This would not only be the first Game Boy game I personally bought with my own money. It would not only be the final Pokemon game that I would buy and essentially play for many years. But this introduced me to the Pokemon craze that was going on at the time. I have still yet to beat this game. I can get to the final leaders, but because I was new to Pokemon, I didn't really think too much. I didn't level up all my Pokemon that I was using, and they're just not strong enough to beat them. So I never beat the game. This also is not my copy. Again, I had to go back and buy another copy. In fact, none of these Game Boy games are my original. So, it's been incredible going back and collecting all of the old Nintendo games I used to have. living those memories again. I mean, I'm looking at all these games that I used to have. I actually have some of the manuals for these. That'd be nice to go back and actually get all the manuals. So, and it's been incredible. I had since got rid of that Game Boy, and all the 3 games that I had with it. Probably traded it in for a DS or a DS Lite. I think it was a DS Lite. And of course, it was backwards compatible. So if I wanted to play some Game Boy games, I could have. In fact, I held out for a long time and traded in Zelda. I would eventually go to a Game Boy Advance SP, which is how I kind of prefer to play all these Game Boy games, because you could play them in color. There's a backlit light on this backlight, so you can pop in a game in the back, turn it on, and there's a light you can turn on and off. So unfortunately, this is so old, the battery will not hold a charge. So I've had to order a new battery, and that was a few weeks ago off of Amazon, and I'll be replacing it as soon as it comes in. It's awesome, though. I absolutely love it. I did go and get some other games. There were 2 other Super Mario Land games. There's Super Mario Land 2, The 6 Coins, and Wario Land, Super Mario Brothers 3. So I had to get those because I love Super Mario Land. I ended up with Operation C. From I used to own a comic book store. People would bring things in, like comics, games, trade them in, and this was one of the games that I got. Just recently, I picked up E.T. because I'm a huge E.T. fan. It's kind of a neat game. So that leaves me with 2 other games that kind of bothered me that I didn't have. I had baseball. I had Super Mario Land, and I ended up with woo! I had to look. Baseball, Super Mario Land. I have it. Tetris. But it bothered me that I didn't have Alleyway and Tennis, the other 2 launch titles for the system. And I figure if I'm going to own a complete in-box original Nintendo, then I needed to have the launch titles as well. And so I did pick up Alleyway and Tennis for a very reasonable price. They're fairly cheap. And I don't know, I'm happy with this collection. I'm happy being able to go back and relive my memories from the Game Boy. Now, the Game Boy lasted from 1989 to 2003. It sold 118.69 million systems worldwide, and that's the Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light, Game Boy Color, all those. So it's incredible. The longevity of this system, and it's still going strong today. There's a huge there's huge Facebook groups that are dedicated solely just to the Game Boy. And I mean, look at this box. The box just screams, new. It screams next gen. You had the games available at the time on the side. Accessories such as a pouch to hold your games and your Game Boy for carrying around. This was one of the first handheld systems to have a charger. You plug this in and you can get extra battery power to play the Game Boy. And then you got Tetris, very addicting. It shows you the two people playing the Link with the Link cable there. So this really does hold up in my eyes. It's still so much fun to play, whether you're playing the games on the original, whether you're playing them on a Pocket or a Color or a Lite or even an SP or Advance. Again, not my first SP. Had a red one. Wish I still did. So, but there you have it, my friends. The first episode of Storytime, my memories with the Game Boy. Did you ever own a Game Boy? What were your thoughts on the Game Boy? Do you still own a Game Boy? What are some of your favorite games? What are memories and experiences with the Game Boy? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do like this episode, give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you know when more episodes of Storytime and other videos post. Thank you for watching. I'm Retro John.